So an hour before the deadline on Tuesday, the Ravens placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on quarterback Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw that, I was like, hang on, non-exclusive franchise tag. This isn't something you hear teams doing a lot, very often at all. So the non-exclusive franchise tag, they said it's over $10 million cheaper for the team, but other teams can now negotiate and agree to a deal with Lamar. And then the Ravens have the opportunity to either match that offer, or they can let Jackson go to that team and get multiple first round picks in 2023 and 2024 in return. So I was saying, much to my chagrin, Mr. Aaron Butler, I'm sure you're watching. I know it's your favorite podcast. The Ravens are 45-16 with Lamar as their starter, but they are just 1-3 in the playoffs. He just turned 26. He's a former MVP, and reporters are coming out saying that several teams are instantly not interested in pursuing Lamar Jackson. So let's talk about it. Is this because he wants a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson? Are NFL owners trying to move away from these fully guaranteed contracts before they become more of the norm? Or is Lamar just not as good as he thinks he is in the eyes of the league?
So I'm going to say yes, no. That's where I'm at. I think so. I would like you to name these teams off real quick because I know these teams, but
well, here we go. We'll do the timeline because the timeline was kind of interesting too. So
yeah, absolutely.
3:02 p.m., Jackson gets tagged by the Ravens. So at 3:16, this is all on Twitter, right? So 3:16, Falcons reporters comes out. Falcons are not interested in pursuing Lamar Jackson. 3:35, Raiders said not likely. 4:30, Panthers not expected to be in. 4:49, Commanders are out. 5:22, Dolphins said we're all in on Tua.
Okay. So I'm glad you hit on that. Yeah. Other than the Dolphins, for me, because they have Tua, and when Tua was healthy, Tua was balling out.
Yeah, he looked good.
Tua looked great. If he can stay on the field, I think they have something there. The other teams, I'm very confused because I feel like there's huge just question marks at quarterback. And you have the opportunity. Now, if it comes down to we don't want to give away 2 first-round picks, I get it. Do you want to build around a guy that you took in the 3rd round if you're Atlanta? Okay, cool. But if you're ready to win or if you're ready to build something, why wouldn't you just at least take the shot at it? Because we talk a lot of crap about Lamar Jackson, but at the end of the day, the guy's a playmaker. He can do things with the ball that nobody else can as far as rosters on, quarterback. So Commanders, I don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback. I would go and get Lamar Jackson. I mean, unless you're planning on jumping up and getting a elite one of these 4 quarterbacks there's question marks in that if you're doing that. I mean, Bryce Young's kind of small, but I think he'll be all right. Stroud's nice. But would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Will Levis? To me, it comes down to passing. Still, the narrative is that Lamar Jackson can't pass, right? That's what we all say.
That's what we all say.
If you look at his numbers, bro, we're kind of just super tough on the dude. And whether it's a division or not, he's been, other than his rookie year, he's been pretty much 62, 63% completion percent. And you might go, oh, that's kind of low. If you look at Josh Allen, other than 1 year, his numbers as far as completion percent are kind of like that. Now, Josh Allen's a different, you know what I mean?
Well, Justin, I think the reason for that.
Yes.
To me, Lamar, he's the Steph Curry of the NFL.
Okay.
Is Steph Curry that good at getting to the hole, or is his threat as a three-point shooter what gets him to the hole? Lamar, his completion percentage is decent because he was so good on his legs. There were wide open receivers all the time, open.
Right.
When Lamar is stopped, when you figure out how to stop Lamar, it becomes much harder for him to complete a pass. That's what we saw. So if you're looking at the game itself and rather than a stat sheet, I think it poses some problems. The league always figures out how to defend a running quarterback. It might take a season or 2, but the league always figures it out. When they figure it out.
I disagree, bro. I disagree. Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen are running all over people. Lamar
Josh
Jackson,
Allen,
before he went down, was
Josh
running
Allen
on
is a
people.
much better thrower.
I agree, completely agree, bro. But
And
it will translate to the next team also. It's not like he's
I would
all of
I
a
would
sudden not
argue
gonna know
that
how
the
to run.
league I would argue that the league has figured out Lamar to a much greater extent than they did the year he won MVP, though.
For sure,
Okay,
bro.
yeah.
That was 2019. There, obviously,
Yeah,
the
and-
second you put tape on a film, guys can figure out a little bit better. There's tape on everybody. I mean, that was 4 years ago. Obviously, there's going to be ways that you can game plan and kind of try to eliminate it. But if you look, people don't. When he's healthy, bro, he's giving you 100 yards rushing all day, pretty much.
2 seasons ago, he led the league in interceptions before he had a season-ending injury.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, man. We had Baker Mayfield 2 years
I know.
ago. Things happen.
I know.
Things change.
I'm just saying.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying I think a lot of people are still riding the wave of 2019 for Lamar. He hasn't been 2019 Lamar in 2020,
That's fair.
21, or 20.
Okay, let me.
And then if you're – go ahead, buddy.
No, go. Finish what you're saying.
The only thing also is he hasn't been healthy. So if that's another red flag, if you're one of these teams where you're not sure that he's going to be able to be durable enough, I also get that. But to me, it's crazy that you're going to go, we're rolling Sam Howell out there. You know what I mean?
No, that I agree with you. I would make a trade for Lamar if I were
Those five
Atlanta,
teams,
Carolina.
other than Dolphins, are a terrible situation at quarterback.
You know a team that has a lot of first-round picks because we gave it to them and they really needed a
Houston.
quarterback? Yeah. I
Yeah.
would make that trade if I were Houston. I think the question, though, what's the minimum amount of first-round picks you're giving up for Lamar?
2. All it is 2 on this tag.
Guys, I don't think it's the first round
On this
picks.
non-conditional tag.
It's
2
not
first-round picks.
To me, it's not the
You
first
think
round
it's the
picks.
contract?
It's the fully guaranteed contract because and this kind of goes into what you were saying, John. Like if I'm a team and I'm looking like, okay, I got to give up some first round picks to go get, my franchise quarterback. I think teams would be more willing to do that. But when it comes on top of, wait, now this guy wants a fully guaranteed contract in the vicinity of what Deshaun Watson got. What I would be looking at is this right here that I wrote out. So Lamar Jackson, yes, he's a former MVP. He went 13-2 with 3,100 yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 6 picks when he won that MVP. The next season, they went 11-4. He dropped down to 2,700 yards, went 26-9, 26 touchdowns, 9 picks. The next 2 years, though, only started 12 games because of injury, 7-5 for 2,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, 13 picks, what you were saying, John. And then he went 8-4 with 2,200 yards, 17-7. Rushing yards have gone down every year since he's been an MVP. And like I said in here, like it's not on the same scale, but you're seeing the same trend that I think teams and the Browns were seeing with Baker Mayfield. Decline. Like it's not like Lamar hit MVP and then repeated or came close to it. He's slowly come down each year from that. And now he's asking for that guaranteed It'd be different if he was ascending and last year he won that MVP and had an amazing season. Yeah, he could come out here and ask for that fully guaranteed contract and teams might give it to him.
Well, he wouldn't have got franchise tag. Baltimore would have given it to him.
Fair, yes.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. But if he can't stay healthy, I don't understand the fully guaranteed. Like, I get that. I feel like teams kind of try to push back on that. They don't want to pay fully guaranteed contracts.
No, they don't
feel
want
like
to.
The Deshaun Watson thing, that was like a huge one-off. Owners were ticked, If he's willing to kind of come down on the fully guaranteed or even take a short-term fully guaranteed deal, if it's 2 years or something like that, that would make sense. But, I mean, it is risky to give a guy 4 years, let's say 230. Let's say it's 235 because Deshaun got 230. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a guy that missed, 5 games last year and 4 the year before.
Right.
And was kind of banged up.
So what's
If
interesting?
you're in a desperate situation, though, for a quarterback, I'd pull the trigger all day.
Yeah,
All day.
I've seen a lot of the. I don't. If you guys seen on social media and stuff, and some of these reporters are talking about this Lamar contract situation, saying, "Well, why wouldn't you give him?" Like what? Basically, they're saying that Deshaun Watson's not as good as Lamar Jackson. So if one of these two guys should have gotten that fully guaranteed contract, it should have been Lamar and not Deshaun Watson, which I don't necessarily agree with because I wasn't looking at regular season stuff because Watson's been in the league a little longer than Lamar. But if you look at their playoff numbers, which I think is important because like we always rag on the Ravens fans. Like, sure, you guys can win the regular season. You can't win in the playoffs. So it doesn't really matter. You're sitting at home with the rest of us watching the Super Bowl. So if you look at their completed air yards per game over their career, Deshaun Watson averages 150, Lamar 100. Deshaun Watson's playoff record is 1-2. Lamar is 1-3. So they've, Lamar's got one extra game on Deshaun, but they got the same wins. In one fewer game, though, Deshaun only has 30 fewer passing yards in the playoffs. Excuse me. Deshaun Watson's completion percentage is 63.5. Lamar's is 56. Deshaun's touchdown to interception ratio 4-1. Lamar 3-5 in the playoffs. So that makes Deshaun's touchdown percentage 3.2. Lamar's is 2.2. Deshaun's interception ratio is 0.8. Lamar is 3.7. Deshaun's quarterback rating in the playoffs is 91 and Lamar is 68. So I think the playoff numbers tell a different story. What do you guys think?
I don't know, man. We're talking about 4 games. And to your point, if you're Lamar Jackson's agent, or I know he doesn't have an agent, but like if you're in that circle, I'd also be banging the drum that I should be making more than Deshaun Watson. I know we're going to say that's crazy, but if you think about it, especially with a guy that it's your franchise guy, I think he has a very valid argument to say, hey, I won MVP. Whether it was 4 years ago or not, hey, we've done big things together. I might have exited the playoffs a little early, but hey, the framework was there. And probably, depending on what happens, might still be, but I don't know, man. Honestly, right now, we're paying Deshaun Watson for what we saw in Houston.
Right.
Because we didn't get that guy. We didn't get that guy in Cleveland. You know what I mean? Just, I know it was, whether it was rust or unfamiliarity with the playbook or whatever happened, just chemistry, game speed. He's got a fair argument to say I should be making more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. If you really want me, this is what I want. It's fair.
Well, the market will speak for itself. So, if someone pays him that, then he's obviously worth that to that team.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens. But I think people are scared to pay somebody that much money who might end up getting hurt.
I think anybody. I think even like a major good quarterback, let's say top 5 guy, I don't think Joe Burrow is going to get an all guaranteed contract, or Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? Maybe, I guess, but Cincinnati doesn't have, as far as paying players, the greatest history. They've kind of always cheapskated out and rotated the next guy. And so we'll see, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Well, Justin, let me just ask you though, did you read this tweet that I put in here from Jason LaCanfora?
I'm sure I did, but
okay.
Just refresh me real quick.
So he tweeted out the other day, he said, if Jimmy Haslam waited 1 year, a year when everyone knew he wouldn't get more than 4 to 6 games out of Watson anyway, he could have landed a far better quarterback and a far better person in Lamar Jackson for the same money. And Browns fans would have finally celebrated him, and he'd have crushed their rival. Oh, well. What do you think? Should we have waited a year and taken Lamar Jackson, or would you rather be rolling into 23 with Deshaun Watson?
To me, like, hypothetical questions like that are just irrelevant. It doesn't matter what we think or what we should have done. We have Deshaun Watson, which I think I'm good with that. I don't think if Lamar Jackson would have went to Cleveland, I don't think that Browns fans would have like turned their head. I think he could have done some big things if he came to Cleveland, just depending on how we designed our offense around him, if we did that. But we have Deshaun Watson. And if Deshaun Watson gets to, let's say, 85% of what we saw in Houston, and we start building on that, and we put weapons around that, sky's the limit. I'm very okay with saying, hey, I'd rather have Deshaun Watson than Lamar Jackson. And I might get burned on that years down the road. But as of right now, hopefully potential going forward, that's what we're doing.
Okay. John, you got anything to add? You good?
No, I would agree with what Justin just said. I'd rather have Deshaun, but I legitimately think Deshaun is better. I can't judge him based on the 6 games he played in Cleveland. I just don't think that's fair. But we'll see. If Deshaun doesn't have success in Cleveland, my life story tells me that's probably Cleveland's fault, not Deshaun's. But we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, if the past 30 years, told a story, that would be the story for sure.
That is the story.
That is the story. But
yeah, I mean, and what I keep reminding everybody too is, I think our expectations for Deshaun, we were too hyped last year. We had too high of expectations. I mean, this guy was coming off of, 700 days of not playing football. And he's coming into the league when everybody's going against has 11 games of already game experience in the season, plus the preseason and training camp and everything flowing. The chemistry with the team, the coaches, all that stuff, the routine, the preparation. He comes in cold, just absolutely cold, with 6 games to go. And it looked like it. It looked rough. It looked pretty bad. I mean, he did not play well. But I really do expect that to be different in 23.